Hey everyone, it's Dominic, the Primetime Treasure Hunter. Welcome back to another video. In this video, I want to talk to you about how to handle faulty return requests that come through eBay. And what I mean by that is a situation in which you receive an item back in a condition other than how the buyer received it. And this typically occurs by the buyer sending it back to you in a way that's improperly packaged so that it doesn't survive the normal wear and tear that occurs during shipping. One of the ways that you can easily document this is that when someone opens a return request, they normally send pictures of the item. So if the pictures of the item that the buyer uploads are vastly different from the ones that you have when you get the item back, that's a way that you could document this. I had a former video that I did on this related topic in which a buyer sent me back some comic books that were valued at $40, and they went from New York, where I'm located, to California. The buyer didn't like something about the condition, opened the return request, sent them back to me without the protective bags and boards on them. So just tossed them in an envelope and shipped them back from California to New York. And of course, they got completely mangled on the way back, such that there was now no way that I could resell them. And at that time, I had called eBay, and they told me what I should do is to offer and give the person a 50% refund, so refund $19.99, and that eBay would give me a voucher of $19.99 to use at the eBay store so I could get shipping supplies and stuff. So, and to get that, I had to talk to a manager and all that sort of stuff. I was satisfied with how it was resolved. It took a while to do, and that's why I'm doing this follow-up video, because there's a much easier way to go about handling this, especially if you do free returns. And that is really, really important, is to offer free returns. If you're not doing that, I highly suggest it. And the reason why, I've done a video on this too, you could search through that on my channel in terms of how to do free returns and why you should do free returns. But free returns offers you a lot of seller protection, as you're going to see in this updated example that I'm going to take you through in just a few moments. I would suggest doing the 60-day free returns as opposed to the 30-day free returns. And the reason for that is that the vast majority of people that make a return request on eBay do it within the first 7 days, and certainly within the first 30 days. I have literally never had a buyer request a return on an item past even a few weeks, let alone anything close to 60 days. Now, can it technically happen? And is there someone out there that could provide an example of day 60 or day 59 of a return coming through? Sure. But what I'm telling you, not just based on my experience, and also talking a lot with experienced reselling colleagues, that is extraordinarily rare. And if that does happen, the benefit that you are going to get by adding a nice layer of consumer confidence to the buyer by showing them that you're willing to stand by your item. It's just like when you go to purchase something and you see there's a warranty on it. That gives you more confidence to purchase it. So it's the same sort of thing. But in addition to that, you also get seller protection, and you get a seller bump in the search algorithm. So you'll get bumped up more if you offer a 60-day return compared to 30-day free returns. Now, free returns, period, if you offer them, they are going to give you that seller protection I was talking about against negative feedback. And this is really, really important, because a lot of sellers, especially new sellers, they get really nervous when they get a return request, and they're worried that if they don't give the person a 100% refund, even if there's something wrong with the item when it gets sent back, they're worried that if they don't do that, then what's going to happen is the buyer is going to leave them a negative feedback, and it's going to affect their seller rating, and they're not going to be able to sell as effectively on eBay. But I'm going to tell you how you could protect yourself on that as I take you through this example. So let me go through the example, and the example is actually based on this video that I did. So go check this one out. I'll actually link to it at the end for you if you want to see it. This is one in which I asked you a question to decide what I should do. Should I sell this vintage historical item that I found metal detecting? Now, I won't go through the whole story because it's all in that video, but basically what that item is, and I'll zoom up on it in just a few moments when I show you my listing for it, but it is well, it's not really technically an antique because it's from the 1930s, but it is a vintage light fixture, which a gas lamp, gas lights would come through, and I found it in an old park here in Syracuse, New York, where they used to go for vacationing back in the old days, and there were like dance halls and ballrooms and stuff, and then it got torn down, and this was in a location where one of these ballroom locations was, and it was just, buried under the ground for, all these years. So I found that metal detecting, everyone in the park was really excited. I got to keep it. I've displayed it for years. I've showed it to people who, every time they come over, they find out I metal detect. They ask, what was your best find? I always take it out. I tell the story, blah, blah, blah. So, after doing that for years, I, got my fun and kicks out of it. And I had always wanted to sell something that I found metal detecting. So I decided this would be a perfect type of thing. So I polled people 4 months ago, and I got a lot of comments, and the poll results you can see there, 65% said yes, sell it, and 35% said no, keep it. Now, Mrs. Primetime, my wife, and my kid, they didn't want me to sell it. They wanted me to keep it because, they thought, I should hold on to my best find. But like I said, I had gotten to the point that I felt I was willing to part with it. And I certainly wanted to abide by the poll results, because if I didn't do that, then I'm going to lose credibility with my subscribers, and I certainly don't want to do that. So if I, poll you and tell you I'm going to follow the results, and I'm going to follow the results, and I did just that. I listed the item. You could see it right here. It says, rare 1930s metal New York ceiling light fixture, hand painted, and I did say it was in remarkable and incredible condition for its age. That's important. I'll actually show that right here. For its age, and considered how it was recovered. Those are important caveats. I dug this out of a hill metal detecting. I even say it in the listing that I did it while metal detecting, where I give lots of close-ups of the item. As you can see, some of the red tint there, that's actually some of the original, like right there, you could see right on that floral element there, to some of the original red paint that's still on it. And that blows me away that from the 1930s, that's still there. Now, there's some people watching this, like Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler, who, already told me they look at this and they see this as a piece of junk. But for me, I really see it as a historical item and a relic, and, part of history, a part of local history. And I was very proud to recover it. And I wanted to share it with someone else who might have seen the same historical value in it and may wanted to display it themselves. I was not thinking anyone would want to purchase this to actually use it as a light fixture, but again, more of a historical kind of show-off conversation type of piece. Now you can see here, I give lots of details of the item. I do the front. I also show the back as well. Here, it's got a nice little patina on it. It's got some, some rust, but nothing crazy. And I also show in the listing, an old area of the park and exactly where I found it. So it wound up selling. I had it listed as $19.99 and wound up selling it for, I took a best offer of $80 on it. And lo and behold, after the person received it, within about a week, the person opened a return request. And I'll show you the actual return request. It says, this picture, I don't know why it says picture, but this picture is in horrible condition with twisting of the metal one side and impact damage to 2 socket receivers. The damage did not occur during shipping, which is ironic that he says this given what you're going to see happens. as close inspection of photos illustrate same condition. The description indicates the fixture is in incredible condition for its age. It is incredibly broken. Professional appraisal by an antique light expert, 75 cents, metal recycling. Now, I had it appraised as well, and I had it appraised as $100, depending on condition, of course. You know, it's not perfect. That's why I wound up selling it for 80 bucks. But there really should be no surprises in terms of the condition. The condition is as shown in the listing. There's nothing different about it in terms of what I received, except one major thing that I'm going to show you pretty soon, but has nothing to do with the actual return request. Person talks about the sockets. There's nothing wrong with the sockets. The sockets are perfectly circular. I do not know what the person is talking about. I've looked at this item for years, having it personally, and there is just nothing wrong that should prevent anyone from being able to use it if they wanted to. Now, that being said, I was still willing to provide a return for this person if they were not happy. Now, eBay automatically approved the return, so what I should say is I'd be willing to refund the person. But then I actually got the item back. Now, when the person sent the pictures of the item, and I don't have those pictures here because eBay didn't save it here. You could see here it doesn't have the actual pictures anymore, unfortunately. But when the person did send the pictures, what I can tell you, and you know, if this wasn't the case, he would have said it in the complaint. But this part here, right in the middle, let me get a better picture of it. Right here, this middle piece, there's a little piece there that is attached, and that was attached in the pictures that the person sent. Anyway, I get the item back, and I already know I'm gonna have a problem because I have this big gaping hole in the side of the box right there. And I take the item and I take it out, and what I see is this piece is snapped right off. And the reason why it's snapped off is because what the person did when they shipped it back is they just tossed it in this box carelessly, did not adequately protect it, and left tons of void fill in the box. So as a result, it's shaking around like crazy as it got shipped to me. The person didn't even really tape it up, and now this snapped off. So now I really can't sell it to somebody else because it really is truly damaged. And when I look at the sockets, again, I don't see what this guy's talking about. I don't see any problem with the socket. What most likely happened is the person had a change of heart, buyer's remorse, and sent it back for that reason. Now, so I'm in a situation, right, where I have this item that this person wants a full refund from. Now, I do free shipping, and you know, this could be one of these situations where, you know, you could lose out if you're doing free shipping, because I do free shipping and free returns. Now, I rarely get returns, and one of the things I also want to mention to you is that, you know, if you're thinking, oh, well, you know, you could lose out if the person sends it back and you have to pay on it. Well, yeah, you could technically lose out in that one case, but you also have to consider how many additional sales did I get because I offered free shipping, or because I offered free returns, and because I offered free shipping with the returns. Again, people rarely ever take me up on that offer, so I have to think that the positives outweigh any small negatives in terms of returns that come through. The positives more than make up for it. But what I did in this situation is that when you go to the return screen, and this is another thing that will trip people up. Now, I can't show it to you here because I don't have the screen because the return is already done. But what happens is it will say, you know, it's time to refund, you know, the buyer, and you actually have to click the button that says refund to do what I'm going to tell you. This is what will trip people up sometimes. They think that if they hit the button that says refund, that the person automatically gets a 100% refund. That's not the case. That will open up a whole nother screen in which you have a lot of options in terms of what to do. You could give the person 100% refund, or you could give the person a partial refund. What I did in this situation is I gave the person back a 50% refund. So $40, because that's the maximum that eBay allows you to do if you offer free returns and the person sends it back to you in a condition in which you did not have it when you sent it out. So that is something that you've got to take advantage of if you get one of these situations where you get one of these faulty returns. Now, what is likely going to happen is that the person is going to see that they didn't get a full refund. So what they are going to do, as this person did right here, is they are going to open up a case. But at this point, when the buyer opens the case now, this is now something eBay totally takes care of, and you do not have to worry about it anymore. Now, what I did when I offered that 50% partial is it gives you an area, like a little text box, where you could explain why you did that, and that's what I did. I explained and I showed pictures. In fact, here's one of the pictures that I sent in right here. You could see me showing that this is snapped off, and I also told them, look at the picture that the buyer sent. When the buyer sent this picture, this was attached. So it's proof that I received it back in a different way from how it was received by the buyer. I also showed a picture of the box, and I also showed just another angle of this piece being snapped off. And so what happened within, I think, 24 hours is that I got an email from eBay saying that the case is now closed. And I want you to pay attention to what it says here. eBay opened the case because of an issue with an item purchased from you. We reviewed the case and have decided to issue the buyer a refund of $39.99, but here's the important part, without any impact to you. In other words, eBay is eating that cost. There's a reason why you pay eBay fees, and this is one reason. This is seller protection that can help you out. Now it says the case is now closed. You are not required to reimburse the buyer or eBay, okay? Or eBay. And this case will not be counted in your seller performance evaluation. I'm showing it to you right from the horse's mouth, and you could see that comes right out of the seller protection update that came out recently. And it says right here, I'll show it to you, eBay seller protections. Starting June 1st, 2018, when you offer free returns, you'll have greater control to manage your business, and you can decide to issue partial refunds to buyers. For example, if a buyer uses or, and let me highlight this, if a buyer uses or damages an item and returns it, you can decide to issue a partial refund and we'll take it from there. If a buyer escalates a case like this buyer did, we'll take care of it for you so you can focus on your business, which is important. Now, I don't have to be on the phone with eBay worried about this other $39.99. eBay totally took care of it, and I didn't have to deal with any of this. Plus, we'll protect your reputation from negative feedback. Now, the person could technically leave you a negative feedback, but you can then call eBay and they will remove it because of this protection policy. Now, keep in mind, if you have really stellar feedback and you're a top rated seller and you have a great reputation on eBay and the person tries to leave a negative feedback, they won't even be able to do that until like 7 days have passed because that is a seller protection that you have that many people don't know about unless you try to purchase things on eBay. And if you've ever tried to leave a negative feedback for someone else before, you'll see that it'll say that. So there is seller protection in this situation, and this is, a case in which I'm showing you how they actually followed through with what they said that they were going to do. So again, just to highlight, very important. You cannot have this type of seller protection if you don't offer free returns. So it's a very, very important thing to do. I know there's some people that are against partial refunds, but I think in those situations, what most people mean when they say they're against partial refunds is they're against you literally giving the person, back $40 and, eBay not covering any of it. This is a different situation. I refunded $40, so I kept the other 40, and then eBay basically refunded the person the $40 that the person was upset that they didn't get. So, overall, I guess, at the end of the day, it all came out good in a sense. I mean, positives, I guess, outweighed the negatives. I wound up making $20 on this overall. It cost me about $10 to ship it. So, back and forth, a little bit less. It was like $8.79, something like that. I still have the item. Granted, yeah, little piece is snapped off. I can't sell it for that reason, but, I still could hold on to it and could still display it. And Mrs. Primetime may find a way to get this thing back on here somehow. I don't know. And I also got to make a video out of it. So I'm going to look at the positives on it and also get to share all this information with you on how to protect yourself when dealing with faulty returns. Now, don't get me wrong. If the item comes back to you and it comes back to you in the way that you did receive it, you cannot go into eBay and abuse this policy and just offer every single person a 50% return. eBay is going to catch on to that. They're going to realize there's a pattern there. So you have to be honest as a seller, and being honest as a seller is another thing that protects you. If eBay sees that you're giving, refunds on, let's say full refunds on items that cost even more than that, let's say, but then on this one you're objecting because they're an issue, that gives you credibility when you make an argument, to eBay that there was something wrong, that there was a flaw. So just be honest, and that will ultimately, be another added seller protection. So that's about it with this video. A couple points in terms of just some things going on this week I want to make sure you know about. Tonight, now I'm actually filming this, and this is why my voice is a little raspy. I might look a little tired. It's 1:20 in the morning, and I've got to be up at like 6:30 to go to work. So I'm kind of doing a little old school video for you here. So I am going to be on Star Bryson's channel this evening. So it's going to be, I don't even remember what time it is. You got to check. She's going to put the promo out some point later today, but it's on the Flippin' Hippos channel. I believe it's at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just go check with Star, and she'll have all that information up on her Instagram, Flippin' Hippos, and on her YouTube, she'll probably have it listed there too. And then Wednesday night, very important, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, there's going to be the first ever thrift battle between Eric, the vintage flipper, and Chris, the thrift shop hustler, who I mentioned earlier. That is going to be epic. These two guys are amazing pickers. I love seeing the stuff that they find. So go come and see them battle it out. I put the rules of engagement in my Facebook group, the Facebook Reselling Resource Center. Of course, I'll announce those rules the night of the actual thrift battle. But come on and join the Facebook Reselling Resource Center. We just crossed 10,000 members, and we're almost at 10,100. So, I mean, we just keep growing and growing super fast. It's a great, positive, supportive, educational group with a lot of seller support activities. You can actually make money within the group by being supported by other sellers. You got to come in, check it out, and see what I'm talking about. Tony Boss, a member of the group, just made 19 sales, and in one day for being the supported seller on Sunday. That's a weekly event that we do. 19 sales and made like 227 bucks. So, and we've had people make almost $500 and like 40 plus sales on one of these events. So come on by. It's an amazing group, and you'll have a great time. Make sure if you like this video, you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Instagram. That's at prime_time_treasure. I'll see you back at the next video, everyone. Take care.